Hello everyone. Today it is a very irritating day to be British and rather like the royal family, as Britain's two least favourite royals decided to do an exclusive interview with an American woman, which in their defence in two respects. One, they actually live in America, as Meghan seems to decide exactly what goes on in their life, and two, from what I can tell in this interview, they didn't have an awful lot good to say about the royal family in England. So I suppose we should get into it. Haryan and Meghan interview. Sussex driven away by racism and mental health fears. Duke says royals cut him off and events would have angered Diana. Well, you quit the royal family, of course you were cut off. Anyway, there's quite a lot to get through, so I'm just going to read it. A toxic collision of mental health fears, racism, and the tragic shadow of his mother's fate convinced the Duke of Sussex to challenge and ultimately break away from the royal family, he said last night. In a 2-hour interview broadcast on primetime television in the US, he and the Duchess of Sussex described how life as a working royal had taken her to the brink of suicide and detailed the concerns that an unnamed member of the royal household had expressed early on over the skin colour of their future children because of the Duchess's mixed-race genes. Yeah, she did seem to take a lot more Caucasian skin than black skin, I have to say. Hopefully there's more details on that, because I want to know if in the same conversation this unnamed member of the royal household said, oh, by the way, is he going to be ginger or black? Because I can't see the royal family really caring if the baby's going to look dark-skinned, because they were all there celebrating your fucking wedding. The couple also suggested that the royal family had frozen the Duchess out because they were jealous of her popularity. Yeah, comparing Meghan's popularity over time, I don't think that was ever their concern. Oh dear. Claimed that they had been cut off financially by the royal family and had been able to afford their Californian home only because of the Duke's inheritance from his mother. Confided that they married 3 days earlier than the world realised and revealed that the baby they were expecting will be a girl. Well, that's just lovely, isn't it? So apparently they got married in private 3 days earlier than the actual public ceremony. Honestly, I'm okay with that. Though it's not exactly secret if you then tell the world in an interview. And they're complaining that they got financially cut off by the royal family after they left the royal family. Yeah, I don't have sympathy there, I'm afraid. And yeah, they are trying to garner sympathy quite clearly in this article, but I'm sorry, I don't have much sympathy for royals who cut themselves off from the royal family, therefore lost their income for being royals, and instead have to rely instead on a hefty inheritance from a princess. Yes, I'm sorry, I really don't have much sympathy there. You can afford a house in California. I can't. Prince Harry, 36, also told Oprah Winfrey that while he remained close to the Queen and had spoken to her more in the past year than he had for a long time, his relationships with his father and brother had been badly damaged by recent experiences. I love William to bits. He is my brother. We've been through hell together. We have shared experience, but we were on different paths. Later he clarified that the relationship is spaced at the moment. Time heals all things, hopefully. Don't simp for thoughts, it ruins your relationships with your brothers. Bros before hoes, my dudes. Simp for real queens, they won't get in the way of this. Asked about his relationship with the Prince of Wales, he paused for a long time. There's a lot of work through there. I feel really let down because he's been through something similar with the Princess of Wales. He knows what pain feels like, and Archie's his grandson. I will always love him, but there's a lot of hurt that's happened. He added that he would make it one of my priorities to try and heal that relationship. At one point, as the couple prepared from Canada to step back from their roles as frontline royals, the Duke said that he and his father were not on speaking terms. He had 3 conversations with my grandmother and 2 conversations with my father before he stopped taking my calls. Now, obviously, this is speculation, but I think it's quite close to the truth. I think Prince Harry has married someone he didn't realise was actually quite manipulative, and because of this, I do actually feel bad that he has been cut off from his own family, even though he chose to do it himself. I mean, the man is quite famous for being a bit of an idiot. I would not be surprised if he turned like 32 or whatever, saw Meghan Markle and thought, geez, I've got to get married pretty soon. It's just unfortunate that she was a thought, and Prince Harry does not follow in his brother's footsteps, who simps for real queens. Earlier he said that, as a royal, he had felt trapped within the system like the rest of my family are. My father is trapped, my brother is trapped. They don't get to leave, and I have huge compassion for that. I mean, let's be fair, Harry. They're not trapped, are they? They can step away from their royal duties whenever they want. They are just taking their duties in their stride and actually doing the job of a royal. Now, you seem perfectly happy doing that beforehand. You joined the army, or the Air Force, I can't remember which one. And you were with your family constantly at the royal events. You seemed perfectly content with that in public. Obviously, behind the scenes, I can't say what you felt. But the fact that you say you're trapped and that your family is also apparently trapped, and yet you had to cut yourself off from them, I just don't buy that. I believe in the interview, Oprah Winfrey actually asks Harry, did he feel trapped before he got married to Meghan? And he basically avoided the question. It gets your noggin jogging, really, doesn't it? The first big moment of the interview came when the Duchess revealed that when she was first pregnant, members of the royal family talked to Harry about the skin colour their child would have. Well, it is a new topic of conversation, to be fair. It would be the first time they can't just assume it's going to be white. The conversations happened over a period of time, the Duchess said, saying they came even as she and her husband were told that she and her son would not be given the title or afforded the protections that came with it. Well, yeah, they left the royal family. Asked who had raised the subject of her future child's skin, the Duchess said, I think that would be very damaging to them. That was relayed to me from Harry. That was conversation that family had with him, and I think that it was really hard to see that is compartmentalised from everything else. So they leave the royal family, and she's surprised that her child won't be given a title or given the protections that come with that title. Okay, pretty odd. I mean, this is consistent with all the times I've seen Meghan. She does seem to want her cake and to eat it too. But then there's this stuff, it's just like, oh, one of the family members asked about what the colour of the child's skin's going to be. I mean, that seems to be it. There's no other context to this. And we don't even know who said it. It could have been Prince Andrew when he was very drunk or something. So to not go into any detail on that, because they are trying to imply that members of the royal family are racist, and yet they won't even say who it is or go into detail on it, or clarify if it came into question whether this particular person didn't want a black member of the family. Which again wouldn't make sense because one, we're British and not particularly racist, and two, the whole family seemed perfectly happy to accept Meghan into the family at their public wedding. Winfrey asked the Duchess if they were worried that if he was too brown, that would be a problem. If that's the assumption you are making, I think that feels like a pretty safe one, she said. It's really hard to understand, right? The Commonwealth is a huge part of the monarchy. Well, yeah, that's why I don't believe you. She added, I know how important representation is. I know how you want to see someone who looks like you in certain positions. I could never understand how it wouldn't be seen as an added benefit and a reflection of the world today. Yeah, this is critical race theory nonsense. No, again, I don't even believe that what she is saying is true. I really wish I had the clips at hand to watch this because I want to see how she acts with these particular questions, just to see what her body language indicates, but I'll just have to go off the text for now. So given that now it has been clarified that yes, they were indeed trying to be racist, whoever said this, whichever member of the royal family this happened to be, and they still won't reveal who it is. Which, fine, whatever, but if all you're clarifying is, oh, Oprah implied that it was a racist thing, yes, that is what you're implying, right? Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, no, I'm not going to tell you who it is. Oh, no, I'm not going to go into any more details on it. It's like, yeah, okay. It's weird. It's like they've cut themselves off from the royal family, but they only kind of want to do little snipe jabs. They only want to criticise them slightly. It's all really weird. It's really weird behaviour. They'll only imply that the royal family are terrible, when really from the sounds of it, it sounds like Meghan really wants to say she hates the royal family, but won't because obviously that is talking about Prince Harry's family. But honestly, who knows at this point? She's just a mess. The Duchess, who was in tears during the interview, revealed that she had contemplated suicide with methodical purpose during her time in the royal family. Winfrey asked for clarification that she had been on the verge of suicide. That's the truth, the Duchess replied. She described how she had done extensive grieving, lost a relationship with her father, lost a baby in a miscarriage, and nearly lost my name. I thought it was your decision that you were estranged from your father. A miscarriage, okay, I can completely understand that. Absolutely nothing wrong with grieving about that. But you nearly lost your name? What? I don't think that's ever happened in the royal family. Even Diana was known as Princess Diana Spencer all her life. I don't think you were ever at risk of that. There's a loss of identity, but I'm still standing. My hope for people in the takeaway from this is to know that there's another side, to know that life is worth living. So this just seems again to be Meghan trying to be some sort of life coach and motivational speaker, I guess. She seems to be really going on that side. Since Prince Harry trying to simp for her and getting the head of Disney to get her a voice acting role appears not to have worked. So again, she's either lying or just really crazy. And obviously I can only go off what she acts like in public, but being very, very charitable here, I think she is just crazy. And with that being said, I can actually believe that she might have contemplated suicide. So, sympathy for her there if she did. Prince Harry said that appeals for help for his wife fell on deaf ears in the royal family, where they very much all have this mentality that this is how it's meant to be, you can't change it, we've all been through it. Yeah. That's the idea of the institution of the royal family. He added that his sense that his wife was a victim of racism made him press the issue. The race element. Now it wasn't just about her, but it was about what she represents. What does she represent exactly? Black people? I don't think she represents black people, and I don't think black people think that. It was not just affecting my wife, it was affecting so many other people as well, he said. Who? Who the fuck was it affecting? He said he told fellow members of the family, guys, it's just not going to end well. Well, I don't know exactly what he means by that, but he does clarify. He added, the way that I saw it was, there was a way of hearing things, but for us, the specifics around her race, there was also opportunity, many opportunities for my family to show some public support. Yeah, but from the sounds of it, she was trying to ostracize them. And from the sounds of it, as well, you went along with it. You were the ones that cut yourselves off from them, but I assume this was before that. But I can't see that you two were ostracized out because of her race. She was doing things wrong before that. He said one of the saddest parts for him was when 70 members of Parliament spoke out against colonialist tabloid coverage of his wife, yet no one from my family ever said anything over those 2 years. That hurts. Did they say anything about Princess Diana? I don't think they ever made comments on the press. He claimed that royal family had treated his wife wonderfully at first, but their attitude to her changed dramatically after their tour of Australia. He suggested that it was because the Duchess's performance reminded them of his mother, Diana. No, I don't think that was it at all. I think it was more likely the fact that the whole tour was made about them, as is evidenced by the fact that they kept making documentaries whenever they went on tours, which no other royal has done, because they understand it's about the family, and it is about the place they are visiting, rather than about just them as a couple. They understand their duties. Are you saying they were jealous? Winfrey added. He replied that they saw how effortless it was for Meghan to come into the family, just be able to connect with people. He told Winfrey, I just wished that we would all learn from the past. Asked about the alleged conversation over their first child's skin tone, he replied, that conversation I'm never going to share, but at the time it was awkward, I was a bit shocked. He added, that was right at the beginning. What will the kids look like? That was right at the beginning. He also said that before he and Meghan married, members of the family had suggested that she should continue acting, and that she could make a lot of money that way. Again, maybe it's true, I don't know, but the way the royal family acted, since she was his girlfriend and then wife, especially just after the wedding, it all seemed perfectly fine. There didn't seem to be any of this, there's all this stuff about them not liking Meghan going on. It seemed to be after Meghan was doing things wrong in the royal family, which she's going to make mistakes, but it went beyond that. And for all we know, they said she should keep to acting and make money that way, because maybe Meghan was trying to do this all for money. We don't know yet. But then when she realised that being royal is actually quite hard work, she seems to just try and take the easiest path, which was to break away from the royal family and do all these interviews for attention and money. That is, of course, quite an uncharitable interpretation, but I'm just going off what I see. This next bit's very much for the Americans, because for some reason the Americans love Princess Diana. He thought his mother would feel very angry about how this had panned out, and also very sad. I can't imagine how it was for her all those years ago. The Duke later said that he had felt her presence throughout this whole process, and added that they were only able to afford their new life in California because of her. My family literally cut me off financially. You cut them off. I got what my mum left me. Without that, we would never have been able to do this. I think she saw it coming. Yeah, man. Princess Diana completely saw before her untimely death that you were going to marry a American bimbo, yeah. That's what she gave you the inheritance for. Earlier, the Duchess accused Buckingham Palace of silencing her and failing to protect her while lying to protect others in the royal family. She said that before joining the royal family, she had been an advocate for women's rights. The irony of the last 4 years, I've advocated for so long for women to use their voice, and I was silent. Yes, she's so much the feminist icon, she unironically married a prince. Winfrey asked, were you silent or were you silenced? The latter, she replied. Everyone in my world was given a very clear directive from the moment people knew Harry and I were dating to always say no comment. My friends, my mum and dad, it was always through the lens of, and will protect you. Yes, the royal family have very strict PR. Who would have thunk? They're not Donald bloody Trump. They can't just go to Twitter and say whatever's on their mind. It is an institution that needs protecting, as it is supposed to represent the subjects of Britain. It is their job and they get paid very handsomely for it. And almost all Britons are happy to oblige. Apart from communists, of course, but that's a different story. I mean, there's a bit in this article about her liking the Queen and saying that when the media said she made Kate cry, it's a lie, but honestly, I don't really care about that anymore. But I do want to get on to this bit. The Duchess told Winfrey that she had entered her marriage naively. Wow. She said, I didn't grow up knowing much about the royal family. It wasn't something that was part of conversation at home. Well, that makes sense. You're an American. She did no research and never looked up my husband online. As a result, she didn't fully understand what her job was. What does it mean to be a working royal? Wow. How do you date a royal for 2 years or whatever it was and not understand that you are marrying into a job? I don't understand. I think she must have known that. There's no way Harry wouldn't have sat her down and talked her through exactly what the job would have entailed. Although she and her husband were closely aligned on the cause of the work, there was no way to understand what the day-to-day was going to be like, she said. I didn't romanticize any element of it, but I think as Americans especially. What do you know about the royals? What is it you've read in fairy tales? It's easy to have an image of it that is so far from reality. Yeah, it tends to be against a feminist idea of what reality should be as well. She is very contradictory at some points in this, I have to say. She acknowledged that she was confused because she had grown up in LA, seeing celebrities all the time. She learned that this is not the same. It's very easy, I think, especially as an American, to go, oh, these are famous people, and that's a completely different ballgame. Reality began to intrude on the fairy tales before the wedding. The vows that the couple have on the wall of their home are not those they exchanged at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle on May 19, 2018. She said, no one knows this, but we called the Archbishop and we just said, look, this thing is a spectacle for the world, but we want our union between us. The vows that we have framed in our room were just the two of us in our backyard with the Archbishop of Canterbury. So they had a private ceremony. And from the sounds of it, it was just the two of them with the Archbishop of Canterbury. Yeah, that's not an official wedding then. You need 2 witnesses there to sign the documentation to say you are married. You have to go on the registrar. You need a registrar there as well. You can't just have the Archbishop of Canterbury say your husband and wife. You need witnesses and a registrar for the church records. Otherwise, it's not a real marriage. I mean, I'm Catholic and this is C of E, so it's not a real marriage anyway, but you get my point. Okay, I said I didn't want to get into the family drama, but this bit I found really confusing. Winfrey asked the Duchess about the story that she had made her sister-in-law cry in the run-up to her wedding. No, the reverse happened, she said, and I don't say that to be disparaging to anyone. because it was a really hard week up to the wedding. Asked what had happened, the Duchess said a few days before the wedding she was upset about something, she said. She said it did relate to the dresses flower girls at the wedding would be wearing. It made me cry and it really hurt my feelings, she said. Okay, so at the moment it's just a media said this, no, it was the other way round type thing. Okay, I don't have much trust in the media, but I don't have much more trust in Meghan, but we'll see where this goes. She said, I thought in context of everything that it was going on in the days leading up to the wedding, it didn't make sense. What with what was going on with my dad, referring to the controversy about whether he would attend the wedding. She said that the Duchess of Cambridge was upset about something, but she owned it and she apologised and she brought me flowers and a note apologising. She did what I would do. She said she felt hurt when she was told that the opposite story was circulating 6 months later. I would never have wanted that to come about her, she said. I protected that from coming out in the world. Now, as I say, the royal family don't really tend to care about tabloid news, and they definitely never comment on it. And again, Meghan should know this, and Harry especially should know this, so I don't know why they cared so much about it. This is what I mean. They always seem to be about media attention, and that is the opposite of what the royal family is about. All the media are really there for, that they care about, is that they broadcast these large ceremonies out to the world, whether it be at horse racing events or whether it be royal weddings. But it just seems to be a 180. Oh yeah, the Duchess of Cambridge was upset, but it was me that cried. It's just a really odd way to frame it. It sounds like that she still made Kate upset, and then Kate even apologised for it. I don't know, again, what really happened there, because they never clarify anything. They just give us all this vague drama, and it's all very annoying, and in this case, somewhat contradictory. Meghan, 39, accused the firm, as the royal family is sometimes known, of perpetuating falsehoods and described how she now felt liberated to make her own choices after moving to LA. The Duchess, who is pregnant with her second child, talks about her experience of race issues in Britain and the impact on her mental health of dealing with the pressure of royal life. She said it was really liberating to now feel able to speak for yourself. That is an incredible 2 paragraphs. At first, the royal family is perpetuating falsehoods that she feels more liberated in LA, and then in the second paragraph, she literally says she is really liberated. What? When asked about how she felt about the palace hearing her speak your truth today, she said, if that comes with the risk of losing things, I mean, there is a lot that has already been lost. A royal source said the palace had been preparing for damaging allegations, but it is not going to get involved in a blow-by-blow dissection of the interview. The strategy, they said, was to let the frenzy play out in the morning and possibly issue a statement later. Another source said everyone is bracing themselves for intense scrutiny of the royal family after the interview. And this is what gets me. They are trying to, at the same time, be really like, oh, no, the royal family's not that bad. Oh, no, it was just one racist thing. Oh, no, I love Kate. Oh, no, the Queen was great. And then at the same time, they're doing this interview that they know full well has allegations that could damage the royal family. You can't have both things be true at once. So that's pretty much everything interesting that they had to say in this article. And as I put in the title, they do seem to have irritated the nation to some degree. So there's a few opinion pieces that have been put out today because of this interview. I'm just going to read the titles because really they're not that interesting. But from the Times' general view seems to be Harry and Meghan must pay the price for their burnt bridges. The Sussex cannot enjoy the perks of royalty while trashing the institution. It's time to remove their titles, which I do agree with. They have been so far removed from their duties and have literally cut themselves off from the family. I don't understand why it didn't happen earlier. But maybe give it a bit of time before we do that, because otherwise it is going to look like they are just trying to attack them. But then even The Guardian, who have been one of the more defensive publications of Meghan Markle, said this. In the battle of Meghan versus the firm, who do we cheer on? How about neither? The highly dysfunctional family has plenty of fear from the Sussex television interview. Well, sure they do, but as Catherine Bennett of The Guardian has said, they just seem completely apathetic. So it's either you're on the royal side, or you are on the side of I don't really care. And just to nail this point home, YouGov did a poll a few days ago asking, when it comes to the dispute between the royal family and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, with whom do your sympathies lie most? And the absolute winner is the Queen and the members of the royal family at 38%. And then next in line, it's neither at 30%. So 2/3 are either apathetic or in support of the Queen. And then less than a fifth of people in this poll have sympathy for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It's crazy, and the rest are either both or don't know. But it is crazy how against Meghan and Harry the public have been. And from what I can see throughout, say, Twitter and the tabloids and things like that, I think what I have been describing here seems to be the mainstream view on this. In Britain, it is a very bad idea to go against the royal family. It is a well-loved institution. People like them, no matter where they are, whether it's at the Royal Variety, horse races, or at big weddings that appear to be a sham and just a spectacle, according to Meghan Markle. And I guess this is what happens when you come from a country that has no history of a monarchy like this. Which, on the surface, is fine, but it really does show that, as she said, oh, it's just a spectacle for the people, that. No, the people genuinely do love the royal family, and they were willing to take you in as their princess, Meghan. But you rejected that to be a virtue-signalling bitch and a terrible actress. Well, Harry, this is what you get for marrying a thought. As the rest of the royal family, even Prince Andrew somehow, seem to still be doing well and are rather loved by the country. Most of the country loves the Queen, and most of the country loves Prince William and Princess Kate. So while that part of the family is still going and is still being our representatives, the UK seem very happy with the royal family. And honestly, from what I can see from most people today, most people are perfectly fine with Harry and Meghan staying over in America, having a bitch at them. We'll have a bit of a rage today, hence I'm making this video. But give it a week or so and people will completely forget about it and go back to loving the royal family that still reside in the UK. Anyway, that's everything I had for you today. There are more articles to go through, but that one pretty much covered it all. So, as usual, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.